Brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Gary Nunn. President Trump says Saudi Arabia's acknowledgement of the death of dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi is credible and says he will consider some form of sanction but prefers it not involve arms sales. More from CBS News correspondent Holly Williams in Istanbul.
The Saudis are saying that Jamal Khashoggi was killed inside the consulate, but in a fight that broke out between him and the other people who were inside the consulate. They are not acknowledging that he was murdered or that he was murdered on the orders of any Saudi official.
Several reports today indicate that Khashoggi was strangled. 18 men have been arrested in the case. Several Saudi intelligence officials have been fired. The deputy head of Turkey's ruling party says that his government, will never allow a cover-up of the killing of Khashoggi. Thousands of migrants jam a bridge right now linking Guatemala and Mexico. Police yesterday halted the crowds, pushing them back. All mostly Hondurans want to come to the United States. President Trump vows to keep them out. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo conferred with his counterpart in Mexico City about the crisis.
We are quickly reaching a point which appears to be of crisis. Record numbers of migrants. Foreign Secretary Vitigre and I spoke about the importance of stopping this flow before it reaches the U.S. border.
Would-be billionaires? Well, you should dream on. There was no winner in last night's Mega Millions jackpot drawing. Next drawing will pay at least $1.6 billion.
It's the biggest of any. It's an all-time world record for any of the games.
Carol Gentry of the Maryland Lottery. There were 15 second-tier winning tickets sold in 9 states. The Powerball drawing tonight is worth $470 million, and the previous record Mega Millions jackpot was $656 million. British voters decided to exit the European Union more than 2 years ago, leaving a lot of people displeased. CBS's Larry Miller in London.
In what's expected to be the biggest London demonstration in a decade, more than 100,000 protesters are demanding a so-called people's vote on the final terms of Britain's exit from the EU, basically a second referendum. But Prime Minister Theresa May insists there'll be no people's vote.
We had a people's vote. It was called the referendum, and the people voted to leave.
The UK and the EU remain deadlocked on what their post-divorce relationship will look like. Larry Miller, CBS News, London.
Down to the wire in the NLCS. The Brewers topping the Dodgers last night to take Game 6. Joe Buck on Fox with the final call.
Kemp pops it up. Aguilar is there, and Game 7 coming our way from Milwaukee tomorrow. Brewers win it 7-2.
This is CBS News.
Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates in an online dashboard. Get started at Indeed.com/hire.
There's a time and a place for black and white, like when you're learning to play piano, or when you want a big two-toned cookie, or when shopping for a pet zebra. But if you want to attract customers, there's no room for black and white. So go to Staples. Staples specializes in bold, hard-to-miss color printing. And now at Staples, get 20% back in rewards on color printing, from banners to brochures and copies to presentations. Print more color, save more money at Staples.
In-store only. Ends 11/10/18. Restrictions apply. See store associate or staples.com/20back for details.
It's Macy's Customer Celebration Event. Take an extra 25 or 15% off with your Macy's Card or Savings Pass. Save 25% on dresses, 25 to 40% on men's suiting and more, 50% on our fine jewelry clearance. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. And Star Rewards members, you're invited to celebrate a year of incredible Macy's Star Rewards benefits in stores today at our exclusive shopping event with refreshments, fun, and more. Visit Macys.com/events for details and hours.
Neiman Marcus, the luxury retail chain, has unwrapped its annual list of fantasy items ahead of the holiday gift-giving season.
Always wanted to be James Bond?
My name's Bond.
James Bond.
You can buy that adventure, including racing fancy cars and even jumping out of planes. Got a sweet tooth? A cool $325,000 will get you a custom candy bar and a trip for 4 to the Italian Riviera. Or if boats are your thing, just over $7 million will get you a luxury solar-powered yacht. That's Sleeps 12. That last gift includes a shopping spree, of course. Allison Keys, CBS News.
Election day in Afghanistan, voters picking members of parliament, balloting marred by chaos and corruption, even postponing the vote in Kandahar province. Taliban militants have issued statements warning people to avoid taking part in what they consider a foreign-imposed process. Gary Nunn, CBS News.
Imagine your dream carpet.
3, 2,
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Police pressed charges after a drive-by shooting from last month, but the suspect was already in custody. Cordell Young was pulled over for speeding shortly after the drive-by took place. Cops say he was found to be in possession of drugs and was arrested. Later, thanks to additional info from witnesses, he was charged with the drive-by. There's a new victim of AFM, or acute flaccid myelitis. It's a polio-like disease that affects the motor skills of children infected. The CDC issued an alert about the disease, and reports say a Chattanooga boy is being treated in Atlanta for it. He's the latest victim of the potentially deadly disease. And the Chattanooga Fire Department joined the Tri-State Mutual Aid Association so they can better serve Hamilton and surrounding counties. It allows them to give aid to members of the association if it's requested and request aid from other members. Fire Chief Hyman says it's a big benefit. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect a wet start to your Saturday with morning showers. It'll be dry and breezy for the afternoon, though highs into the mid-60s. Tonight, turning colder, still breezy, lows upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine staying into the 50s. Sunday, mid and upper 30s with scattered frost by Monday morning. Beautify your yard with Glass Farm Nursery, now with a big assortment of pansies and violas, as well as first quality 8-inch mums, only $5.99. That's Glass Farm Nursery, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Source Gene 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Cash, and more cash. Get 8.1% return on your money. Rick Davis can turn your cash into real money. Gold and silver bullion. American Eagle Gold. The banks give you a measly 1.9%. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll get 8.1% return on your money. 8.1% return on your money. Wow! Whether you're buying an ounce or 100 ounces, Rick guarantees it in writing. 8.1% Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Raider Road, Chattanooga.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Blitz. I'm Nick with you. Alongside me, Sam Jordan this morning. How you doing, Sam?
Not bad. Yeah, this has been quite a while since it's just you and I.
I know it's weird. Jason's out. He's in Charleston this morning on his way back from his cruise.
Yeah,
that must be nice.
Yeah.
And Keon obviously usually doesn't join us until a little later. He's actually not going to be able to join us today. He's got some things to take care of. So
take care of that woman, Jay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yes. She's not feeling well. So
awesome girl.
Hope she gets better soon. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Go Vols.
Yeah. Go Vols from last week. It was fun, and actually going to have one of my good friends call in the 9 o'clock hour. He was actually down on the plains last week in Auburn. So I'm going to get his thoughts on that and then kind of where Tennessee, the trajectory of the program is, which if you look back and you go 3 weeks ago now, I guess, the Georgia game and Florida game, and you get beat by 26 points in both games, you're probably thinking, oh God, this could probably be worse than last year record wise. And
I don't think it will be though.
Well, it probably not now. But then you go down on the plains and defeat a team, and people talk about how well Auburn's reeling, and that's what's wrong with Auburn. That's fine, but that's still a big win for Jeremy Pruitt, and it's a big win for Tennessee. To improve to 3-3, and then your reward is to get to play Alabama.
Yeah. Well, I said this off air. I mean, they've got several players, key players that are injured this week. So you don't ever wish that on anybody, but Tennessee could use a break or two. And even though Alabama is a good team, they're number one in the country, deservedly so. It's not going to be the end of the world. I mean, Tennessee, if they play as well as they did last week against Auburn,
they'll keep it to like
they will
points.
I think it'll be a 2 to 3 touchdown differential.
If it's 2 touchdowns, Sam, you'll be jumping for joy. So excited. Here's the thing. If I'm Jeremy Pruitt today, and my goal is, and I'm not ever going to tell my team this, but my goal is to, one, make sure that we get out of here, no injuries.
All right.
And don't embarrass ourselves. That's about my 2 goals. Obviously, as a head coach, you're thinking you're going to win every ball game. And that's fine. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to think. But let's be real. Nobody's beating Bama this year, period. Bama could beat probably 2 NFL teams.
That could be true. I think there's only 2 teams that I feel could beat Bama. And the one you're going to laugh at, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
See, I told you.
That's a joke because Notre Dame, I'm sorry. I'll never buy Notre Dame as long as that moron's a head coach up there. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Brian Kelly, he killed the guy.
I got a question. I've never checked into this. Is Brian Kelly and Chip Kelly related?
They're not.
Okay.
But
they coach alike.
then again, I'm also a little biased because Brian Kelly, Butch Jones is a Brian Kelly, off the Brian Kelly coaching tree. So I just don't like anything that has to do with that. So.
Okay. And then the other team, even though I despise them wholeheartedly, Ohio State.
I think Ohio State's the only one that can compete physically with them. I am interested to see, though, in 2 weeks. Next week, they're on a bye, Alabama. But they do play LSU in 2 weeks. And
LSU could be a dangerous team.
Here's the thing with LSU. The talent's always there. It's whether or not they get the coaching they need. And look, I love Coach Ed Orgeron. I absolutely
fell in love with him from The Blind Side.
He's one. I hate that movie so much. It's a bunch of lies. Anyway, that's beside the point. That family is a terrible family, by the way. But that's just par for the course for Ole Miss. So anyway, neither
you digress.
Neither here nor there. I don't want to break down. Terrible cinema, and that's the worst movie Disney's ever put out. But
I don't even think he's playing in the NFL anymore.
No, he's not. But that family mistreated him and used him. But that's, again,
they monetized from it, too.
Yeah, besides the point.
Let's get on to something positive.
Okay. Yeah, let's for the first little bit here, let's just break down a little high school football from last night. We'll go over some scores. Obviously Sam's going to know a lot more than I did. I listened to you on the way home, Sam, but you were only on there for like 15 minutes. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, you guys ran late.
Well,
it's the first late game we've had in a while.
Well, yeah,
but it could have been a little better, I guess.
Yeah. Let's start. Hit me with some Georgia scores, Sam.
Oh, no, I had them at the end.
Oh, well,
but here they are. I got it.
Look at you.
I got it. Darrensville defeated Murray County 34-6. Murray County still trying to seek their first win of the year. Darrensville goes to 4-5. Chattooga beat Armucci, which no big surprise, 40-14. Pickens over Ridgeland. This one I was a little surprised with because Ridgeland was ahead 14-0. And Pickens just slowly started coming back, winning that. Pickens is now 9-0, and
was that for the region title?
Pretty much for 6A.
Okay.
Pickens, I mean, good school. Ridgeland, they were on a 5-game winning streak before that loss there. They're now 5-3. Ringgold, well, they had a tough time of it with Haralson County. They go to 7-1 with their 30-14 victory.
I was about to say, I thought Haralson County was pretty good. 7-1 is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Ringgold is now 3-5.
Yeah.
Lakeview 4-0. 33-14 winners over Sonoraville.
So happy for Coach Bo Campbell down there at LFO. We've had Coach Campbell on the Gridiron Gang twice now, and the thing, obviously, I'm a big fan because the man played at the University of Tennessee. So I'm very engaged with his program now because anytime I see an alum from my school be able to be successful in what he's done there, the turnaround that he's done, and he'll tell you that it wasn't fast enough, but the program he walked into, he's done a great job.
Well, from what I've understood, LFO, not necessarily the butt of all jokes, but I mean, they were really bad.
They were. I mean, when I was growing up, you never heard LFO winning anything, and now he's got them clinching a playoff spot last night. And the next week, if they win next week, they have an opportunity to clinch a home field or a home game in the playoffs. So that's good for Coach Campbell.
Yeah, I believe it's the Warriors. They're now 5-2. Sonoraville goes to 3-4. Calhoun, they're just on a roll.
They're not
steamrolling along. They're now 8-0 with a 56-13 victory over Coahulla Creek, one of your favorite teams, who's now 1-7.
Good on Coahulla Creek for scoring 13 points.
Yeah, against Calhoun. Especially.
That's the North Georgia, Alabama right there. That's Calhoun. They don't lose in North Georgia.
Heritage, they go to 4-5 with their 55-34 victory over Southeast Whitfield, who now drops to 3-5. 55-34 was that score. Northwest Whitfield goes to 5-3 with their 40-17 victory over the team from LJ that is still trying to find their first victory in Gilmer. Mount Zion defeated Gordon Lee. Mount Zion's now 8-1 with a 44-14 victory. Pepperell, I want to find out where this place is at.
I don't know.
I just like the name, Pepperell.
Pepperell.
51-7 winners over Dade County. Pepperell is now 5-3.
Of course, if it's like most North Georgia, it's probably just Pepperell.
It could be,
but it is spelled Pepperell.
Right. Gordon Central goes to 3-5 with their 36-26 victory over Model, who is now 2-6. And North Cobb Christian, the Eagles, 24-7 victory over Christian Heritage. And that's pretty much our Georgia scores.
So here's my takeaway from Georgia. One, LFO continues to do what nobody expected them to do except for Coach Bo Campbell, his staff, and those players. Ridgeland, even with a loss, is still sitting in good position for playoffs and everything.
They'll be on the road.
They will, but you know what? That's fine. They've won a couple of big games on the road this year. That's not a problem for Coach Courtney Braswell and company there. So those are my two big takeaways.
Yeah, with that Pickens loss, Ridgeland's still in second place in Region 6 Quad A.
Behind Pickens.
Right behind Pickens.
Who's else is in that region?
Heritage, Northwest Whitfield, Southeast Whitfield, Lafayette, and Gilmer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are the top two teams by far. Heritage will usually compete. This year's just kind of a down year for them, so they'll rebound. They're young. They'll rebound.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this many times over and over. I've only been here a little over a year, and you hear about certain teams to look out for. That's a perennial playoff team, and Heritage is one of those teams on the Georgia side. And it's like, okay, if Heritage has been so great, something happened, the water got turned off because
they're just young. You got to think of it. They're kind of like not as drastically as what East Ridge is going through with the youth, but it's kind of the same thing. So, it's tough when you have to play and you're so young in a tough region.
Lower this one here. Mike, there you go.
There you go. Sorry, we couldn't see Sam's pretty face this morning.
I know. I'm better on this side. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's take a look at the Tennessee side. We'll start in Class 1A, Region 3. Lookout Valley, they go to 5-3 after defeating Sunbright 49-8. All right, this is the team here that you're going to make fun of me. Will.
It's better.
Okay.
Whitwell. They did. I saw they stomped Cannon County.
Yeah, 59-20. That was a stomp, all right. Good Pasture Christian was giving South Pittsburgh fits last night.
Yeah, I think you would probably expect a little bit of South Pittsburgh to have a little bit of a down game after losing Whitwell.
Yeah.
I think that's obvious, but good win for South Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they came back 24-10. South Pittsburgh now 8-1 on the year. The battle of 1-7 and 0-8.
So a pillow fight.
Yes.
Okay, who won the pillow fight?
Copper Basin.
Hey, all right.
Over North Georgia, 50-12.
All right, Copper Basin.
Now, Copper Basin does not have to go through the entire schedule and be winless. Maybe Keon will pick Copper Basin this coming Thursday night when we go over our picks there at Starbucks. You never know. But Wartburg Central, I passed through Wartburg. I think it's off 75 when I'm coming past Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
And because I make my trips up to Knoxville or up to Pennsylvania when I go to see my kids and stuff, and it's like, Wartburg? Okay. But anyway, 55-19 winners over Sale Creek, who's in our area. 3-6 now for Sale Creek, and Wartburg Central is now 4-5.
So that pretty much puts Sale Creek out of any chance of being able to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Lookout Valley is going to take that last spot in that region.
After reading Stephen Hargis' book on 8 Hateful Miles, I finally got the title right.
Which I still have not gotten all the way into it yet, and I'm very upset with myself about it, but I'm excited to be able to read it.
Yeah. Loudon beat Marion County 26-18. And when you get into reading that book, you're going to be saying, wow, this is one impressive team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but this season they are now at 3-5.
Yeah.
And it could be a rebuilding year.
Look, there's 3 schools in that county that take the talent. Okay. It's South Pittsburgh, it's Marion County, and it's Whitwell.
Yeah.
And so, usually only 2 of the 3 can be any good. I mean, it's just only that's the way that works usually.
Yeah. All right. Sweetwater goes to 2-7 after their 35-27 victory over Tellico Plains. I do know where that's at.
Okay.
All right. Meigs County. They go to 9-0. They defeated Polk County, which I was a little bit surprised. I actually picked Polk County in the high school game picks in the TFP, so I'm sure I'll be hearing about that. But Polk County started out well. They're now 5-4 after losing to Meigs County 24-3. Oneida, they won 10-0 over Bledsoe County. Oneida is now 6-3 on the year. In 3A Region 3, Red Bank. I really wish that we could play the Red Bank Saudi game yet, because it would be interesting to see if Red Bank, because Saudi's had 2 losses.
As a Saudi graduate,
yeah,
I don't want to watch that happen.
Not this year. Okay.
No,
not that it's a playoff
it's
implication.
A good thing.
I just think it would be an interesting game. Red Bank won 42-7 over Lenore City. Red Bank is now 8-0.
And good on Coach Brown. Because he came on this show and Thursday night and was talking about how, this is going to be a tough test, and they haven't had any tests at this point. And realistically, he didn't say that, but that's what I said to him. And what does he do? They blow out the team that's going to be their toughest test.
Yeah.
So,
here alone, and I texted this to you, and I thought you would talk about it while you were on the air. At halftime, it was Red Bank 28-0. Wilkie, their quarterback, 16 of 18 for 201 yards. This is just at half with 2 touchdowns.
I didn't see this text message.
Yes, it was at 8:47 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Jackson, 142 all-purpose yards and a TD. And then Brown, I'm assuming Coach Brown's son.
No, actually not. That's just
happened to be another Brown.
Lucas Brown. Yep.
6 catches for 95 yards and 2 TDs.
Yeah, that's it's pretty impressive.
That's just in the first half.
You look at what they've been able to do at Red Bank this year, and Coach Brown talks about this a lot every time he's on the show. He talks about how his offensive line's so young; they're sophomores.
Yeah, I mean, so humble.
And here's the reason that it's just continuing to get better for guys like Maddox Wilkie, is because that offensive line is starting to gel as sophomores, and that's dangerous. Red Bank's going to be a problem for teams as it comes to playoff time, because ain't nobody getting close to them right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm having that same problem.
Yeah, it's October weather.
But now Red Bank, even though they started a little late, they've done very well for themselves. So kudos to Coach Brown and his staff, and especially the players, because like you're saying, I mean, it takes a lot for being young to be able to hang in there and to kind of kick butt and take names.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically just opening up a can on everybody, and it's pretty amazing when you're now the talent's there, but when you're a first year head coach at a school to be able to just do this, I mean, that's unbelievable. That's not just a testament, and he'll always tell about how great the kids are, and that's great for a head coach to say those things. But this is also a testament to him too and his staff, and they're doing a great job.
What I'm really shocked at is how the downward spiral keeps going for Saudi Daisy. They lost 14-7 to Signal Mountain. A lot of people didn't think Signal Mountain was
14-0 was the final.
Oh, what? I had gotten 14-7.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I heard that as well, and then I looked and it was 14-0. I had some Signal Mountain people tell me that they shut us out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what you get for. Let me look here. I'll make sure. We'll see what our buddies at the TFP said. Signal Mountain 14-0. All right. So where I got it originally, I guess I'll have to keep my eyes on them. Anyway, but Signal Mountain, they started off winless this season, and now all of a sudden they've got 5 victories in a row. Saudi.
Well, we talked about that at that point in time about Signal Mountain, how their schedule started off really tough. Now they're proving, I think that schedule actually has helped them to be ready for more. But Saudi Daisy's,
Coach Barnes has got to be almost as livid as what Coach Turner was, at least in the description. What you guys were giving.
Golly, Coach Turner last night that was more entertaining than the actual game.
Could have been a coordinator.
Oh God, watching him was absolutely hilarious, and I love Coach Turner. He's been doing this a really long time, and it's really fun to watch because Tyner is, I'm pretty sure, the only school that I can think of around here anyway. Coach Turner's so old school. There's no headsets on the sideline. There's nothing. Coach Turner just stands there, and his staff. It's the oldest school of old school football, and I love it.
Yeah, but hopefully Saudi can get their act together, and
I'm sure Coach Barnes is real thrilled. The offensive genius he is, that the team scored 0 points. He is not going to be pleased this week.
Yeah, there could be a lot of suicides going on
in
the football sense.
A lot of running.
McMinn Central, they're off this week. They'll be back in action next Friday. 4A Region 2, Anderson County. That squad there, I mean, could play a UTC and probably win. And I'm not knocking the Mocs, but I'm just saying Anderson County is just built big.
You're right.
35-3 winners over East Hamilton. East Ridge and Howard Tech, that seemed like an interesting game up through the third quarter, and then Howard Tech says, all right, I'm tired of toying with them. Let's move on, and they went to a 46-22 victory. Now, we're going to have East Ridge and Hickson this coming next Friday night, that game being played at East Ridge at senior night, so it'll be interesting to see. Chattanooga Central over Hickson, 43-20. Sequoia was off this week. Upperman, they defeated Macon County 35-7. We'll wrap this up real quick in the next segment.
We will. But we'll after that, we'll transition to some college football talk, maybe some NBA G League talk. There's some interesting things going on there. Listen to the Breakfast Blitz. Nick Leffew, Sam Jordan. We'll be right back.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. now.
An inmate dies in custody. Officials say 54-year-old Carl Bray III was in jail on DUI charges. Shortly after booking, other inmates alerted guards that something was wrong. Deputies found him unresponsive in his cell. They performed CPR in an effort to revive him, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Chattanooga police arrested a man accused in a drive-by shooting from last month. Cops say just after the drive-by on Dodson Avenue, Cordell Young was pulled over for speeding. Cops say he was found to be in possession of drugs and arrested. Later, thanks to additional information from witnesses, police were able to charge him in the drive-by. And a 6-year-old Chattanooga boy has been diagnosed with acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM. The CDC issuing an alert about AFM, alerting parents that anyone who develops sudden weakness, facial droop, and other symptoms should see a doctor immediately. Little Spencer Hill from Chattanooga currently being treated in Atlanta. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
David Toulis, I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nooga Radio.
92.7 Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect a wet start to your Saturday with morning showers. It'll be dry and breezy for the afternoon, though highs into the mid-60s. Tonight, turning colder, still breezy, lows upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine staying into the 50s. Sunday, mid and upper 30s with scattered frost by Monday morning. Beautify your yard with Glass Farm Nursery, now with a big assortment of pansies and violas, as well as first quality 8-inch mums, only $5.99. That's Glass Farm Nursery, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Where to go for lunch today? Go to the Top. The Top of the Hill Country Buffet offers a delicious lunch buffet every day. Golden fried chicken with mashed potatoes from scratch, daily fresh vegetables, a full salad bar with all the fixins, and fresh homemade cobbler. In addition to the buffet, Top of the Hill also offers a full menu. Plus, kids eat for $5 all day. Top of the Hill is located in Ringgold on Remco Shops Lane and is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Where are you going for lunch? Go to the Top.
For years, America's most liberal politicians have pushed a radical government takeover of healthcare, and so has multimillionaire politician Phil Bredesen. Bredesen is on record in the Tennessee press supporting single-payer healthcare. Bredesen even wrote a book advocating for socialized medicine. Even the Los Angeles Times called it, quote, pretty radical stuff. Phil Bredesen's government-run healthcare system would cost $2 trillion a year and hike payroll taxes 20% for every worker. Even worse, Bredesen's plan would eliminate your family's employer-provided health insurance, making you dependent on the government and giving bureaucrats more powers over your health care. Higher taxes, bigger government, rationed care. Phil Bredesen's government takeover of health care is too big a risk. We can't afford him in the Senate. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nooga Radio
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join Nooga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours with Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Hey, welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz. Again, I'm Nick Leffew. Sam Jordan joining me. Enjoying beef jerky early in the morning. I don't know how you're eating that.
Breakfast and
It is 8:35 on a Saturday morning, and you're eating beef jerky.
And a good old Pepsi.
This is Coke Country. We don't drink Pepsi here.
It is hard to believe you cannot find Pepsi.
Because it's trash.
Oh, it is not. Well, Coca-Cola, you can take the rust off of any metal object.
Yeah, nobody. You don't hear a Jack and Pepsi.
Oh, that's true. Rum and Coke ain't bad.
So I judge my soft drinks based off of their mixing ability.
Ah, okay.
So Coca-Cola is the way to go.
Yeah. Well, if I had to pick a product other than Coke or Pepsi, it would be Mellow Yellow.
See, and that's where I actually go. Pepsi product. I like Mountain Dew better.
Okay.
So
because we're in Dew country, as you see the tractor trailers.
Well, first off, I like real Mountain Dew better than the bottled Mountain Dew. I like the jarred Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Personally, myself, I shall partake in some Mountain Dew today.
Okay.
When I get up to Knoxville,
I'm sure. Have one for me.
Yeah. A jar or just a sip?
You'll be going 2 jars.
Oh yeah. Give me some apple pie.
You may need to after the first half. I don't think it'll be that bad.
Yeah, we'll see.
The tailgating is always the best. Even when I worked at Penn State, and before I got into the stadium, I worked out in the parking lot area, and it's like you'd be surprised of how much partying was going on.
Well, that's, realistically, like I love going to the football games themselves and everything like that, but I get season tickets to get to go see my friends that I went to college with who necessarily don't live around here and in Chattanooga, because you leave Knoxville and everybody kind of goes their separate ways.
Right.
And so it's good to, it's good to get to see people. It's a good social event on top of a football game being played. So it's good
it would be interesting to find out from our listeners out there what is their most memorable tailgate incident.
I can't remember most of mine.
Literally and figuratively,
yeah,
I'm sure.
So especially my favorites have been bowl games. Bowl games are so much fun, and we go down and we'll spend a long weekend or whenever the bowl game takes place, if it's a New Year's Day bowl or whatever, and been to Jacksonville, been to Tampa, obviously Nashville, Atlanta,
Orlando.
We Tennessee last time they played in Orlando was I was Peyton Manning age, so I was young. So I've been to Tampa 3 times for the Outback Bowl. I've been to the Gator Bowl or whatever it's called now. Gator Bowl. Yeah, I will always call it the Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
In Jacksonville, and then I've been to the Music City Bowl a couple of times in Nashville. Nashville does a great job putting on a bowl game. That should be a higher.
Nashville, whenever there's an event going on, they know how to do it right.
I mean, they closed down Broadway, and you're just walking out there, and you're having a heck of a time getting drinks in the middle of the street, and it's outstanding.
I was up in Nashville. This was the last week of the preseason for the Titans, and they were playing, I think it was the Panthers, maybe. I didn't realize it was a home game, but there was also a concert going on at Bridgestone Arena, and it's like traffic was snarled, and it was mostly around Nissan Stadium. And it's like it took me 45 minutes just to get around the stadium to try to get back on the main highway to head back toward Chattanooga. And it was like, what's going on? Oh, it's just a Titans preseason games. Like, really? I'd hate to see it with the regular season.
Well, and believe it or not, as well as the Titans do in getting their tailgate on the Predators are even better.
Oh, I know.
And Predators. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Predators get another big win. They've lost one game all season.
And that was on the road.
It was actually their home opener. They lost.
Oh, that's right.
And they have not lost since. And I believe they're at 5-1 now. And looking exactly what people thought they were going to be the favorite to win the Western Conference early on in the season. I don't expect anything to change. I expect the Predators to kind of win at that clip all year, 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5, things like that. I think that's kind of the clip you're going to expect the Predators to go on, as long as they can stay healthy.
Well, the one thing, I've had a couple of opportunities to go see the Preds because of my son, and it's like I haven't been able to, and it's like I've got to take the time just to go up there.
That's a great atmosphere. I love going to games up there. Once football season's over, I'll move into getting tickets to hockey games and basketball games and things like that. But there's not a professional sporting event I enjoy going to more than hockey.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. Mm-hmm. I was never into hockey until 6 years ago when I got hired to do play-by-play for this minor league team up in Pennsylvania. And then after that, then I was over with the team over in New York State for 3 years in a row. It's like I never got into hockey, even with having Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, where you could see it on TV, never got into it. I knew Mike Lang was probably one of the best in the business other than Doc Emmerich. But it's like, and that's who I started watching to try to get the style of how to do hockey play-by-play. I love it.
I love listening to Doc. Doc's one of my favorites, and he's not just in hockey. Obviously, he's my favorite hockey broadcaster, but he is one of the best just play-by-play guys in the world.
Yeah, that was you, I think.
It was.
Yeah, but, Chattanooga really needs to have a hockey team. They really do.
Yeah, I think they would fit in. Chattanooga would fit in really well in the Southern Professional Hockey League. Obviously, I'm a little biased. The SPHL. I worked for the Knoxville Ice Bears while I was in college. Absolutely loved it, and I honestly thought after college I actually applied for a few different jobs with a few different NHL teams. One of them being the Edmonton Oilers. Kind of glad I didn't get that job because I did not really want to move to Edmonton, Alberta.
I wouldn't mind. Connor McDavid is one of their
it has nothing to do with the hockey. It has to do with living in Edmonton.
Vancouver might be a different story.
Oh, I'd love Vancouver now.
Yeah,
but I hate the Canucks, but I would love to live in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's finish this high school talk.
We're digressing again. We tend to do that quite often.
Well, you know what, though? It's good conversation.
Yes. Let's finish up on our high school football here real quick, and then we'll get into other aspects, maybe talk about the Vols.
No, not me.
Oh, okay. Class 6A Region 2, big game between Ottawa and Cleveland. It started off very tense and tight. But Ottawa got 2 big touchdowns in the end after it was tied up at 20-20. After Ottawa missed their extra point, they could have went ahead 21-20, but they missed it.
That was the game a week on TV, was it not?
Yeah, it was.
So you could sit here and watch it in the studio? Yeah.
But Ottawa, the Owls, they're rolling along. They're now 7-2 after that 34-20 victory over Cleveland. Cleveland played good. They really did. They gave Ottawa fits. And
I think we all knew that was probably going to be like, score-wise and how close it was, that was probably going to be the best game of the week.
Yeah.
I was, and Keon will attest to it, though, as well, even though he's not here today. The Brainerd Tyner, that was a great choice because you got so much going on other than just the football game. We had drumline wars.
Yeah, no, I was listening to it. It's like
it was right in front of us. I mean, it was literally, and I told Keon, I said, "Man, I'm sorry, I'm going to watch this instead of a football game."
What was the name of that movie that Nick Cannon was in?
Drumline.
It was called Drumline.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I remember seeing it on TBS so many times.
Well, being a former band nerd myself, that was anytime your band director, like in middle school, was out.
Were you a trumpeter or a drummer?
I actually played tuba.
Tuba.
Yeah, at UT and all that stuff. So
there's no shame in that.
No, not at all. I got to do a lot of fun traveling and got paid to do it. So
oh wow.
It's good stuff.
Bradley Central. This is a team that impresses me quite a bit, especially after seeing them play against Saudi and the way they've been taking care of business here in the last couple of weeks. They're now 7-2 after their 38-7 victory over William Blunt, who is now 3-6.
I'm so proud of you. I heard you on the radio last night say it too. I was like, yes, Sam. You still said Whitwell, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? We'll
one team at a time.
Yeah, we'll take them as we get them.
McMahon County goes to 4-5 after their 41-7 victory over Walker Valley, who's now 0-9. Maryville, 48-7 winners over Heritage. Maryville is 8-1, and Heritage drops to 0-9.
That sounds about right for Heritage. That's usually the way it goes.
And it looks like Heritage on both sides of the line are having their difficult seasons. Here's another close one. This is in Division II AAA, the East and Middle regions of Tennessee. Ensworth goes to 6-3 after they narrowly defeated Pope John Paul II, 19-14. Pope John Paul II goes to 4-5 on the year. The game of the week, Montgomery Bell Academy, also known affectionately as MBA, they go to 8-1 after their 25-24 overtime victory over Brentwood Academy, who drops to 7-2. That basically set MBA up to win their division, but Cawley has an 8-1 record as well, but because MBA defeated McCauley, they've got that advantage in the region. So, but you got to root for MBA to lose next week.
I just like MBA because I get to say Masters of Business Administration instead of Montgomery Bell Academy. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
You're good at that.
The whole time you were talking about that, that's all I was thinking about.
Yes.
So, anyway,
you're trying to advance your academic future.
Always.
Yes. Baylor, after coming away with that loss last week to McCauley for the Battle of Chattanooga, they come back. They get back on their winning ways, winning 21-16 over Father Ryan. That was a close game throughout the evening, but Baylor held on. In the game that Keon and I did last week with Baylor and McCauley, Baylor, they really started to show their true colors, winning ways in the second half. They just ran out of clock and could not beat McCauley. But Baylor is now 4-5. Father Ryan drops to 2-7. McCauley's off this week. And then we've got also Division II AA in the East. Knoxville Webb defeated CAK 49-12. Grace Christian Academy defeated Silverdale 34-12. Silverdale started out the year doing very well, and they've faltered here the last several weeks, and they're now at 5-4. Notre Dame and Chattanooga Christian. Chattanooga Christian's another team like Silverdale. They started off strong, and now they're starting to falter and fall behind. They're now 5-3. Notre Dame 8-1 after that 29-7 victory. Boyd Buchanan, those poor souls there, they were off this week at 0-9, and Boyd Buchanan probably wishes the rest of the season was over with, unless they could get a victory. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sequatchie County, the boys from Dunlap, they defeated Grundy County at home 48-24. Sequatchie County 6-2. Grundy County 1-7. I actually found out where Grundy County was here the other week. I'm starting to learn where these teams are coming from.
The only thing you knew about Grundy County was the song, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was based on a Grundy County out of Kentucky, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But my biggest thrill was the other last week when I found out where Armucci was and went through it.
Good old Armucci.
Yes. Mount Juliet Christian Academy defeated Grace Baptist Academy 31-14. Mount Juliet is 7-2. Grace Baptist Academy now 6-2-1. And the Webb School. I didn't realize there was 2 Webbs in our area, but I guess there is. They defeated St. Andrews Sewanee 56-8, and that is a wrap on high school football. It'll be interesting to see here how week 10 starts to shape up here, and
we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah, and who's going where in the playoffs? Whitwell, we know, is going to have home field advantage.
They will. They'll be good to go. I can't wait for that South Pittsburgh Whitwell rematch.
Yeah.
Barring some major upset.
Now, the game that they played was at Whitwell.
It was. It was. Mm-hmm.
Can they do it twice in a row in the same season?
Probably not, but I would hope so. I would love to see it.
But you also said that was the 28th meeting, and they finally won against
the 29th meeting. It was 28 straight losses, which was Heath verified that with us Thursday night that it was since 1991.
Okay. He's a cool cat.
I was 1.
You were 1. Since 1991? Well, that gave
Sam,
me...
what were you, like 50?
35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so...
I'm 52 now, so
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a special guest at the top of the next hour who's gonna call in, a good friend of mine. Who
you have friends?
I know, isn't it amazing?
Besides Emmy,
a good friend of mine from he lives in Atlanta now. He's actually been on a couple of different shows with me before calling in.
I'm assuming he's a Braves fan too.
A big Braves fan. Family season ticket holders with Atlanta, and he. Obviously, he's a season ticket holder with me when it comes to Tennessee football. He went to Auburn last week. I was going to go with him, but I had a wedding.
But the game was on, though.
The game was on my phone and a bunch of other phones, and we enjoyed that. But before we talk about his experience down on the plains at Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama, I kind of want to break down a little bit of what happened. Just so everyone knows, you can check the tape. Took my orange colored glasses off last week and still picked Tennessee to not just cover the 14.5 points, but also win the game, that is the second largest upset in Tennessee history.
Really?
Against the point spread.
Who was the
15.5. Florida in 2001, it was 17.5 on the road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But we move on. Just want to kind of break down a little bit of what happened on Saturday. If you... Most people have probably heard and know exactly what happened, but there were some really positive things that you don't just necessarily look at the stats and you see. Tennessee did not run the ball well.
Yeah.
But you knew that going in with Auburn. Auburn's strength is their defensive front, their front seven. They do not give up running plays. So it was all in the hands of Jarrett Garantano. And a lot of people were concerned if he was going to be able to do it. I listened to a lot of Knoxville radio and a lot of Knoxville sports podcasts, and I do know that people in the Knoxville area are really frustrated going into that week with Jarrett Garantano, and were willing to make a change.
No, they weren't willing. They were wanting a change.
And that has all but ceased at this point. Jarrett Garantano was awarded he got a lot of accolades this past week. He won the Maxwell Award Quarterback of the Week. That's out of the entire country. Pro Football Focus, who I use to do my draft grades when it comes to the NFL draft.
Yeah.
They actually grade every single player, every single play in every single game.
Wow.
And
that's a lot.
That's a big staff.
30-something teams.
That's a big staff. And so what they do is they go through and your every play you're either a plus, a minus, or even. So obviously, if you do your job exactly what you're supposed to do, it's just 0.
Mm-hmm.
You can get 0.5, 0.1, or negative 0.5, negative 0.1. Jarrett Garantano graded out at 93.
Wow.
Which was the highest grade in the country last week at any position. So Jarrett Garantano was outstanding for Tennessee. And the thing that people, at least in Knoxville, are talking about, and I don't know if a lot of people around here are talking about, is Jeremy Pruitt. And there's a couple of different videos out about Jeremy Pruitt coaching. Now, if you don't know, Jeremy Pruitt calls his own defense.
Yes.
Which is very rare for a head coach to, because most head coaches are offensive minded.
Right.
Secondly, most of them don't call plays. However, Jeremy Pruitt does, and that may change as he gets more comfortable being a head coach, but the comfort level of him being able to call plays on defense, I think, is good for him right now. But here, there was a couple of plays. And he has played Gus Malzahn 6 straight years. So he knows Gus Malzahn. There was a play where you see Jeremy Pruitt on the sidelines and he's looking at his corner, Balin Buchanan. And he sees that a jet sweep motion comes from a receiver, and he looks at Balin and he says, "Go." And he calls a blitz. And what happens? Balin gets in there and sacks the quarterback. And he has another play where he's looking at Bryce Thompson, another corner. He said, "Bryce, it's coming to you," before the snap. And guess what? Throws it. Bryce Thompson intercepts the pass.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pruitt's a defensive savant, folks. And if you don't if you don't know, I don't know how well he's going to be as a head coach. I don't. The jury's still out, in my opinion.
Right.
It's one win. It's a good win. It's a huge win. It's an important win for the program. But the fact that that man actually understands the sport of football and is an expert in one area bodes well. And you just hear guys love the guy, and I think it's a good step in the right direction. Tennessee played probably 3 really good quarters of football, which is nice to see as well.
The one analogy that I can come out of this, and Pruitt reminds me of Joe Moorhead over at Mississippi State. When Joe was up at Penn State, he was the defensive coordinator. And I think Joe is one of the premier defensive coaches in the country from seeing him in action and everything. But Joe Moorhead's smart enough, because even though he's now his own head coach, to delegate that responsibility. You build your staff around the best possible players or coaches in this case that you can find. So, he will eventually probably cede that, but I'm telling you what, he's going to be the one that's going to have that overruling on occasion there. If he sees something specific, not everybody's going to catch everything.
Yep, so I agree with you 100%, Sam. I love the fact that we have so many, are starting to see so many more experts in one area as head coaches. When we come back after the news break, we're going to have my friend Thomas Duggins on the phone talking about his experience on the plains in Auburn. This is the Breakfast Blitz. Nick with you. New Radio 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Police pressed charges after a drive-by shooting from last month, but the suspect was already in custody. Cordell Young was pulled over for speeding shortly after the drive-by took place. Cops say he was found to be in possession of drugs and was arrested. Later, thanks to additional info from witnesses, he was charged with the drive-by. There's a new victim of AFM, or acute flaccid myelitis. It's a polio-like disease that affects the motor skills of children infected. The CDC issued an alert about the disease, and reports say a Chattanooga boy is being treated in Atlanta for it. He's the latest victim of the potentially deadly disease. And the Chattanooga Fire Department joined the Tri-State Mutual Aid Association so they can better serve Hamilton and surrounding counties. It allows them to give aid to members of the association if it's requested and request aid from other members. Fire Chief Hyman says it's a big benefit. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News. Now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect a wet start to your Saturday with morning showers. It'll be dry and breezy for the afternoon, though highs into the mid-60s. Tonight, turning colder, still breezy, lows upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine staying into the 50s. Sunday, mid and upper 30s with scattered frost by Monday morning. Beautify your yard with Glass Farm Nursery, now with a big assortment of pansies and violas, as well as first quality 8-inch mums, only $5.99. That's Glass Farm Nursery, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Sourcine 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
Radio 92.7.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
My ex recently hacked my email and my social media, and it really caused me some problems. I changed all my passwords, which helped, but I'm still getting trolled, maybe even stalked. I know it's him. I just can't prove it.
My business, well, it's been broken into twice already. I've got cameras, but that only helps after the fact. I'd rather prevent it from happening in the first place.
Unity One East is your solution to these and many other security concerns. With private investigation, security services, and backed by decades of real-life experience in military and law enforcement, Unity One East is your instant contact for security, investigation, and consultation to help protect you, your family, and your business. less. No 1-800 number, no red tape, no wait, because Unity One East is local and available 24/7. Reclaim your peace of mind. Call Unity One East, 475-6206, 475-6206.
Whether you have marginal, moderate, or even extensive hair loss, you don't have to live with it. Finally, there's a procedure that becomes a part of you, and it requires no daily maintenance or special care. Let Apollo Hair Systems give you a free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 423-803-1011 and schedule this free evaluation today. Open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Apollo Hair Systems, 5512 Ringgold Road in Chattanooga. 423-803-1011 for Apollo Hair Systems.
Paid for by Diane Black for governor, Tommy Whitaker treasurer.
So, who are you supporting for governor?
I think I'm voting for Bill Lee.
So you're voting in the Democratic primary?
What?
Bill Lee really ought to be running in the Democratic primary. I mean, he'd see a lot of familiar faces.
Hello?
All right, look, Phil Bredesen's running in the Democratic primary for Senate.
Yeah?
Well, Bill Lee gave Phil Bredesen money.
Wait, Bredesen's big-time pro-abortion.
And Carl Dean's the Democratic candidate for governor.
Big-time liberal.
Well, Bill Lee gave Carl Dean money, too. And Bill Lee pushed for Megan Barry to be mayor.
She's pro...
WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Gary Nunn. After 18 days of speculation and controversy, Saudi Arabia does acknowledge dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi died in a fight inside the Istanbul consulate. An embarrassing position, reports CBS's Holly Williams.
This is a humiliating back down for Saudi Arabia. It is a tacit acknowledgement that at least some of their officials have lied. For days, they were adamant not only that they had not killed or harmed Jamal Khashoggi, but that he had left the consulate. Now they are admitting to the world that that was untrue.
18 arrests have been made in the case. Several Saudi intelligence officials have been fired. President Trump chose his words carefully, responding to the Saudi acknowledgement. CBS's Steve Futterman with the president at a campaign event in Mesa, Arizona.
Even after the Saudi announcement admitting that Jamal Khashoggi had been killed, the president seemed careful and measured in his comments.
I think it's a very important first step, and it happened sooner than people thought it would happen.
Mr. Trump said what happened to Khashoggi was unacceptable. At the same time, he said Saudi Arabia has been a great ally. When asked if he found the Saudi explanation credible, the president said,
I do.
Steve Futterman, CBS News, with the president in Mesa, Arizona.
Mr. Trump says the caravan of migrants in Guatemala right now trying to come to the United States must be stopped. Poll results about immigration run counter to the president's thinking.
The president's rhetoric denouncing immigration does not appear to be working in his favor. According to a recent CBS News poll, only 39% of registered voters approve of Mr. Trump's handling of immigration.
CBS's Chip Reed traveling with the president in Arizona. There's been strong reaction from the Kremlin after a Russian woman was charged in the U.S. with trying to influence the midterm elections. CBS's Larry Miller at the Foreign Desk.
Moscow claims the Russian woman charged by the U.S. with interfering in this year's midterm elections is a fabrication to justify further notorious sanctions. Elena Kushyanova was charged with playing a key financial role in a Kremlin plan to conduct information warfare against the U.S. Russia accuses American politicians of waging a slanderous campaign to gain political advantage in the upcoming elections. Larry Miller, CBS News.
If you have not checked your Mega Millions lottery ticket yet, you did not win the $1 billion jackpot. No one did. Next drawing is Tuesday with eye-popping numbers.
Oh, my goodness. It's $1.6 billion. I like to say that with the billion. And that's an all-time world record for the Mega Millions game and for any game.
Carol Gentry of the Maryland Lottery. 15 people did win at least $1 million, correctly picking 5 numbers, but not the gold mega ball. This is CBS News.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for businesses of all sizes. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Liberty Mutual Insurance knows you're focusing on the road right now, so we'll just describe our new billboards to you. They're horizontal rectangles with a yellow background. The headline reads, Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. And while that might sound like a lot of words for a billboard, they all fit perfectly. Overall, it's a pretty great advertisement.
Go to libertymutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer.
Hi, it's Patty LaBelle. You've seen me cooking in my kitchen on TV. I know you have. I'm as comfortable making sweet desserts in my kitchen as I am making sweet music. And when I make my delicious treats, there's only one egg that's good enough for me and my family. Eggland's Best. With 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. And better taste. It doesn't get any better than the best. Eggland's Best.
People who travel by bus in border states have become vulnerable to government searches, even arrest. CBS's Stephen Kaufman in Prescott, Arizona.
In states with border crossings such as Arizona, Border Patrol officers are being allowed on board Greyhound buses by the company to search for illegal immigrants without a warrant or probable cause. Chris Rickard with the American Civil Liberties Union says law enforcement needs to respect the Constitution.
The Supreme Court was very clear that Border Patrol has no additional authority to go around the Fourth Amendment, that probable cause or a warrant is needed.
Rickard says Greyhound has the right to control space on its buses. Stephen Kaufman, CBS News, Prescott, Arizona.
Bill Cosby's appeal to leave prison has been squashed by prosecutors. Cosby wants a do-over in his sex assault case that resulted in a guilty verdict and a 3 to 10 year prison sentence. His lawyers say the judge made mistakes during the trial, but the DA says Cosby did get a fair trial. Gary on CBS News.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Police pressed charges after a drive-by shooting from last month, but the suspect was already in custody. Cordell Young was pulled over for speeding shortly after the drive-by took place. Cops say he was found to be in possession of drugs and was arrested. Later, thanks to additional info from witnesses, he was charged with the drive-by. There's a new victim of AFM, or acute flaccid myelitis. It's a polio-like disease that affects the motor skills of children infected. The CDC issued an alert about the disease, and reports say a Chattanooga boy is being treated in Atlanta for it. He's the latest victim of the potentially deadly disease. And the Chattanooga Fire Department joined the Tri-State Mutual Aid Association so they can better serve Hamilton and surrounding counties. It allows them to give aid to members of the association if it's requested and request aid from other members. Fire Chief Hyman says it's a big benefit. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect a wet start to your Saturday with morning showers. It'll be dry and breezy for the afternoon, though highs into the mid-60s. Tonight, turning colder, still breezy, lows upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine staying into the 50s. Sunday, mid and upper 30s with scattered frost by Monday morning. Beautify your yard with Glass Farm Nursery, now with a big assortment of pansies and violas, as well as first quality 8-inch mums, only $5.99. That's Glass Farm Nursery, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Source 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Cash, and more cash. Get 8.1% return on your money. Rick Davis can turn your cash into real money. Gold and silver bullion. American Eagle Gold. The banks give you a measly 1.9%. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll get 8.1% return on your money. 8.1% return on your money. Wow! Whether you're buying an ounce or 100 ounces, Rick guarantees it in writing. 8.1% Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz. I'm Nick Leffew. Sam Jordan here as well. And we have a special guest on the phone. A good friend of mine, Thomas Duggins. He lives in Atlanta. Went to UT with him. And he was lucky enough. We were actually planning on going to the Tennessee-Auburn game together this past week. But I was at a wedding.
Your other friend took you away. So now we know who's the more important friend.
Okay, first off,
it ain't Thomas.
It's a wedding. So that's kind of important. Although I had a good talk with my friend about weddings and at the time of a Tennessee football game. Thomas, good morning. How are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm just dandy. I'm
yeah,
living life.
yeah, well,
living high after last week.
Hey, yeah, you go down to Auburn and you probably think a little bit. You think there's a chance they're reeling a little bit, but I don't think you really think you're going down there to see a win, right?
I had no expectation for seeing a win just because, I was in marching band for 4 years, and I don't think I had a single road trip win other than the year I went to Memphis, and that was it.
Well, my only road win was not even a road win; it was a neutral site win against NC State in that Chick-fil-A Classic where Dooley put that stupid helmet.
I'm not counting that.
Okay, well then I'm winless on the road.
Because if we're counting that, then we got to count Georgia Tech too. Remember?
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Anyway, we'll move on from that. First off, I want to just kind of talk to you about the atmosphere, the experience there. I've never been to a game at Jordan-Hare. Was it as good as people say it is?
It was really nice. If I'm going to be quite honest, it was probably because combination of things, 11 a.m. kickoff their time, and then,
state of their program.
Them losing to Miss State the week before. It was not super raucous in there. It got loud-ish a couple of times. But, it's nothing like Neyland, Full Bore, or the Swamp, or even Sanford. Yeah, and granted, this obviously was not the game to be an Auburn fan. After that first quarter, the energy got taken out of that stadium real quick.
Yeah, and Auburn started hot, and they go drive right down the field, do whatever they really want.
Right. 14 play, took 7 minutes off the clock.
At that point, were the Tennessee fans a little, normal?
I don't think
Tennessee
they were
fans?
apprehensive because, we've been slow starting the whole year.
That's true.
But then, at the same time, I think the fans that were there, obviously, I don't think any legitimate fan walked in there saying, this is a team we can't beat.
Right.
It's just, we weren't viewing it as likely just because all the factors, it being on the road, Tennessee doesn't beat West teams ever. It seems like, all that stuff. So, that first drive, it was just more like, okay, well,
Well, it was 8.
Did we really expect anything different at this point?
No, and you didn't. And then, but I will say this though, it had to be a little encouraging to be able to go down and Tennessee drive right away, not get a touchdown, but get 3 points to keep it there, and then the defense holds and plays plays better on that second drive, holds them to a field goal, and then at that point, that's where Tennessee kind of began to take over that game.
For sure, yeah, and that was my reaction as well too. After our first drive, there, I was like, okay, well, hey, that was the best first drive we've had the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
We've made a killing out of coming out and putting up a couple 3-and-outs before getting going. I found that really encouraging. And then for me, the point where I went, and everybody, most other people are going to say it too, but the point where I went, okay, we're in this game is when we held for that field goal.
Yeah, I think that was big. And then obviously whatever Jeremy Pruitt does to make adjustments, I'm not even talking halftime adjustments. You're talking mid-game adjustments. The defense was able to really lock down and later on in the first half and then the remainder of the game. Auburn scored 2 more touchdowns in the remainder of the game after the first quarter, one of them being in garbage time, and Jeremy Pruitt wasn't even really happy about that. But I want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Also, I'm going to say, I was pissed about it in the stadium. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I say it all the time.
Okay. I was ticked about it in the stadium there. I still don't think that was a catch. I thought we got gas meat on that.
Yeah, it was very similar. I thought the same thing.
And the fact that they didn't review it at least was.
I thought they reviewed every scoring play.
Right, and you look at it and people are like, well, as soon as he has possession in the end zone, the play's done. And I'm like, well, he never had possession. He literally gripped it, and then Bryce Thompson's knocking it out of his hand right away. He never controlled the ball when he's doing that little dance around his body with it, and then he was just laid it on the ground. Like, honestly, a Tennessee player should have picked it up and run with it.
Well, remember, the Tennessee player actually caught the ball in midair after he knocked it out of his hands and started running, and they just blew it dead and called it a touchdown. And the Tennessee player was like, I can't remember which corner it was. It might have been Alante, but he was like, I have the ball, and I don't really understand why you blew it dead. Because I don't think he really ever had possession of the ball.
No, not by, and I'm not talking that ridiculous NFL rules. I'm talking about, like, you have to hold on to the ball for a split second there. It can't just be, it was the Gaffney thing where they just,
in the NFL, that's not a catch. I mean, let's be real. You have to complete the whole act of the catch in the NFL in the end zone, and that wasn't. But
anyway, sorry, I got us off track there.
No, you're fine.
We kicked their tail for the last 3 quarters, and it wasn't particularly even close.
I want to ask you too about your favorite, your guy who you talked about all spring, who should be the guy at quarterback, Jarrett Garantano, who finally put a full game together. I thought, he missed some throws a little bit in the first half, but he did do a great job in the second half, and obviously he did because everybody in the whole country has given him accolades, the Maxwell Award, Pro Football Focus, and the list goes on.
So, yeah, to me, yes, he played his best game, and he was consistent for four quarters. I mean, even on the throws he missed them, and he only had one bad throw, and that was the one where he was getting sacked, and he chucked it up over the middle, and luckily nobody was within 10 yards. But other than that, like, every throw he made, like, if he missed it, it wasn't going to be a pick. It was going to be, an incompletion. It was either going to be a completion or an incompletion, which, that's what you want. And, I think we finally played into his strengths last week when, we decided to just let him air it out some and push the ball downfield constantly. I mean, that was, that's obviously the
bread and butter of this offense. And I know that Pruitt wants to run the football, but right now it's just not going to be able. You're just not going to be able to really do it at that level. But I think you have the guys at receiver to win those 50-50 balls, or as some people were saying it more with these Tennessee receivers, it's more like 75-25 balls. Josh Palmer, Juwan Jennings, and Marquez Callaway, they're going to go up and get the ball.
Right. I mean, we start a small basketball team out there.
You're right.
And and I will say, the receivers made it easy because early on they were making, Marcos Callaway made a couple of huge catches there early on to really, or not early, but he had the one early on that really, I think, set the tone for the game, where we haven't always had that in the first half this year. And so things like, I think when they were able to hit on that play, first attempt, basically, like, I really think it gave our team confidence from a play calling perspective, but also from a team perspective. Like, okay, yeah, we can do this all day. We might not be able to run, but this is available to us all day if we can just block it. Give Garantano enough time.
You're right, and I thought Garantano did a great job of spreading the ball around too. He didn't just target one guy over and over again. I mean, Juwan Jennings had 5 catches. Ty Chandler had 5 catches out of the backfield. Josh Palmer with 3. Callaway with 2. Tim Jordan with 2. I mean, that's spreading the ball around. You have talent at the skill positions. If there's one thing that Butch Jones did do well, it was recruit skill position players, and you have them, and they made plays.
Well, we don't need to harp on Butch Jones a lot, but what was always so goofy is he recruited those huge receivers, and then
sideways.
It didn't really fit what he wanted to do on offense.
Yeah, Mo, it fits Tyson Helton's offense. Throw it up.
Like, I know. like honestly, what Butch Jones, like what fits his offense are the type of receivers Alabama has right now, which is a bunch of 6'1" guys that are quick and get open all the time.
You're right, and it's really impressive. I mean, I feel like Jawan Jennings is always open, even if he's covered. I feel like Jawan Jennings
double covered.
I mean, there was that slant catch he had in the second half where there was a safety over the top of him and a corner in his hip pocket, and he just snagged it out of the air.
Right, there are a couple of those. There's we might be talking about the same play, but I think it was second quarter or so when we were driving down for that last field goal, and the last field goal, it was either one of those. But he made a catch basically in triple coverage there. But I mean, it was a good throw by JG. He put it in a window where basically where as long as Jawan played the ball, he was the only one that was going to be able to get to it. But I mean, with Jennings, that I don't know if inspiring is the right word, but the crazy thing is he's one of those guys. He knows he's about to get popped, and he just does not care.
He actually invites the contact.
Right. I mean, even when in that play he caught it and he did get whacked pretty good. But I mean, obviously on the tunnel screens, he's not the fastest dude, but the problem is it takes 2 or 3 guys to bring him down. So he's good for at least 5 or 6 yards every time on that. And last week it was the first down every time we did that.
Well, and I think it was great scheming and game planning to get him the ball in those. I mean, you have faster receivers. You have Josh Palmer. You have Jordan Murphy, who are guys who are faster. But Jawan Jennings, you can't tackle him.
Right. Yeah. It's not a speed thing with him. It's just want to. And now I will say, I don't think he's quick. People don't give him enough credit because if you watch on his touchdown play there, he beat that guy at the line of scrimmage so bad. And I know the guy was draped all over him, but he got inside. He got the right position on that guy immediately.
Are you talking about the touchdown catch where it was pass interference?
Yeah. He had that guy folded up at the line of scrimmage, and the guy was hanging on for dear life.
One thing I do want to talk about too is if you look at the stat line, like I have it pulled up right now, and I'm looking at it. We threw for 307 total yards, which obviously, Garantano actually threw for 328, but the sacks in college football count as negative yards, which I think are stupid. But let's not. I don't want to get into that. But anyway, 68 rushing yards only for the University of Tennessee. Total yardage, Auburn wins that battle by over 60 yards. And again, they had a lot of those yards at the end of the game there.
Right.
In a garbage time touchdown where Tennessee was basically playing an umbrella defense. Keep everything underneath and make them take time. Let them score, but let them take all the time off. But still, I think the defense, minus the very beginning of the game, the defense looked really good. I think Jeremy Pruitt, it's amazing to see the improvement on this defense compared to what it was last year to what it is now with the same guys, just adding two freshman corners realistically.
Right. I mean, and you even look at a guy like, they were playing Balin and I guess the nickel spot or whatever they call it on their defense over whatever it is a lot last week, which he was filling in for Micah being out. And, Balin played it well last week for the most part. I mean, he was on it. And it sounds so simple, but you just never had any confidence with the Butch Jones team when anybody had to be filling in for somebody.
No, you're right. The next man up mentality was non-existent. And
right. And to me, I think the bigger, or what's most indicative is just you never. I, as a fan, and I'm just judging from watching how the players played, but to me, they never looked like they had confidence knowing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and now I think you saw it early in the year, especially even in games against Florida and West Virginia, they still may have not known really what they were supposed to be doing.
Some of that. Now, the other part of that is, and you saw it on Saturday some too, but we a lot of times this year we've had guys in the right spots to make plays. They just haven't made them.
You're right. No, and I think that was the West Virginia game was completely that. I think there were guys to make plays all over the place against West Virginia, especially in the first half, and they just didn't make them. Florida was its own animal. I think that might be one of the worst games I've ever seen Tennessee actually play.
I would put it as the worst. That Vandy game from our senior year is up there too.
Yeah, but I mean,
trying.
It wasn't even that they stopped trying in that game. It's just everything that could go wrong went wrong, and they didn't quit. But golly, I mean, anything that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, when you're turning the ball over on kickoffs because you're kicking it around like you play the Benny Hill theme going around in Tennessee, kicking the ball around like it's a. I mean, it was just one of those things. It might be just one of those things where Florida just has your number mentally, and until you get some new guys in there, you just maybe that doesn't ever go away.
Well, and the crazy part about that is, like, we're dealing with kids now that beat them 2 years ago and have played them close for the previous 4 and 5 years. Like, that game really was out of nowhere. I still don't.
Yeah, that was luck.
Said, like, I never viewed the team as quitting. Like, I felt like they were playing hard. They just were not playing smart at all.
No, it felt like they almost were trying too hard to do certain things.
Too much.
Yeah, and you can't do that. I mean, you can't play outside of yourself, and I think that's what Tennessee did against Florida. However, it's an attestament to the kids, and it's an attestament to the coaching staff that within the 3 weeks that they played Georgia bye week and then the Auburn game, it continually just gets better. And I expect, again, that you're playing a team that could possibly beat some NFL teams this week.
Right.
If you watch this game and you expect and you want Tennessee to win, you're going to probably upset yourself. You got to watch and see things, look for plays, right? You got to look for things that are going well, and are more things going well than aren't going well. I think that's kind of. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, that's. I mean, and granted, it looks different now because the Georgia getting hammered last week, but that was my approach to the Georgia game. Is I just want to see progress, and there was progress in that. There's progress from the defense the whole game, and the offense started showing stuff in the second half of that game.
Well, I think that's when Tyson Helton and Jeremy Pruitt were like, "Hey, maybe we're just going to have to throw the football because we want to run, but maybe realistically at this point, what we have to do is throw the football." And the downfield passing has been really unbelievable. I haven't looked at like the Pro Football Focus breakdown of Jarrett Garantano passes over like 10 or 15 yards, but I'm sure he's pretty accurate with those.
I know going into last week, he was actually rated pretty highly. And, I mean, he was their quarterback of the week.
He was, yeah, and Maxwell Award as well, which is the offensive player of the country at the end of the year. Maxwell Award gave him the player of the week.
Yeah, I was going to say, and SEC player of the week, which that's always nice.
Yeah, and Kyle Phillips getting defensive lineman of the week. A lot of accolades for Tennessee, and well-deserved. I think people, this is the thing that upset me, and we were talking about it before you called in. It upsets me that people are like, well, what's wrong with Auburn? Well, why couldn't Tennessee have just played a good game?
Well, yeah, and, the other, I feel like I've heard this take other places, but I'm just putting it out there. There were people, I've seen people put out there, well, Butch Jones beat a number 11 ranked South Carolina in his first year. Well, A, this is on the road, that was at home. B, that was a fluke game against South Carolina. I mean, Marquess North makes a catch he hasn't made in his life since in that game.
You're right.
And I saw someone else point this out, but Justin Worley on that play, like, they ran 4 verts, like, stupidly against whatever coverage that was. Like, it was just all sorts of dumb. Whereas this play, like, this game, you beat them down for 3 quarters.
You beat their ass. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's what you did. Minus the first quarter, you really beat their ass. Now, one last thing. You got about 40 seconds, Thomas. What is your one thing you want to see today that Tennessee does well?
And it's tough when you're talking about playing Alabama, but if we could find a way to at least show a little bit better in the run game, I think that would mean a lot going into next week. Because that beating Auburn, you should feel very confident. Not expect to win at South Carolina, but you should know, okay, we can definitely play with teams like this and win against teams like this.
100% agree. I think the last 5 games of the season are all really winnable. Thomas, thanks for joining me here today. I'll see you in just a little bit as we're up in Knoxville. Thanks again, and we'll be right back here on the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew. Sam Short will be back. Nigga Radio 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Man accused of impersonating police was arrested. The Chattanooga police say 27-year-old Charles Pipkins from Hamilton County was arrested and charged with reckless endangerment, among many other charges, including aggravated burglary. Reports say 2 men approached a woman and held her at gunpoint, saying they were Chattanooga policemen, then forced her to hand over her cash and personal belongings. A community cash bail fund was launched. This will allow for people who can't afford to pay bail to get out so they can prepare for trial. More than 50% of people in jail charged with a crime and too poor to make bail are expected to be released. Down in Dalton, a woman's accused of stealing a credit card from a car, then using it to spend $500 in fraudulent charges. The credit card was stolen from a car at the Walmart on Shugart Road. Dalton police investigators are able to retrieve surveillance camera video of the woman. They say it's only a matter of time before she's captured. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
David Toulis on Made the Move, 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nuga Radio.
92.7. Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect a wet start to your Saturday with morning showers. It'll be dry and breezy for the afternoon, though highs into the mid-60s. Tonight, turning colder, still breezy, lows upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine staying into the 50s. Sunday, mid and upper 30s with scattered frost by Monday morning. Beautify your yard with Glass Farm Nursery, now with a big assortment of pansies and violas, as well as first quality 8-inch mums, only $5.99. That's Glass Farm Nursery, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Where to go for lunch today? Go to the Top. The Top of the Hill Country Buffet offers a delicious lunch buffet every day. Golden fried chicken with mashed potatoes from scratch, daily fresh vegetables, a full salad bar with all the fixins, and fresh homemade cobbler. In addition to the buffet, Top of the Hill also offers a full menu. Plus, kids eat for $5 all day. Top of the Hill is located in Ringgold on Remco Shops Lane and is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Where are you going for lunch? Go to the Top.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with a small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. Then if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at LandersMcClartyFord@FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at LandersMcClartyFord@FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric. You're our winner.
Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Even if you like your job, there are some things that can drive you nuts, like the anonymous coward who steals your lunch from the break room fridge, or maybe Tyler, the IT guy, who gives you that condescending look when you tell him that your computer is acting up again, as if somehow it's your fault. You put up with these clowns every single day. But what happens when you've had enough? That's the day you decide to retire. At least that's the hope, right? But will you be able to retire? Can you afford to retire? That's why you need to talk to Ron and Christy Adams at One Family Financial. They can't do anything about Cody, that moron who heats up fish in the microwave, but they can strategize with you on how to get the most out of your 401k or pension, how to grow your money without losing your shirt in the market, and how to help make your money last in retirement. Talk to Ron and Christy today about whether you'll be ready to retire when you finally had it with seeing Ethan walk out of the bathroom again without washing his hands. Gross. Call Ron and Christy Adams at One Family Financial, 423-710-2009, 423-710-2009.
The kids are back in school, routine is returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Well, welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz. I am Leffew. Sam Jordan is joining me, but I don't know where he is right now. But you know what? That's okay. You know, we just listen to me ramble for a few minutes till we get back. Thanks again to my good friend Thomas Duggins joining me this morning for a segment as he made a trip down to Auburn last weekend to watch Tennessee upset the Auburn Tigers. Auburn, you know, we talk about that upset for Tennessee. Auburn now in a situation where they're playing Ole Miss on the road today. Another noon game, so 11 o'clock start in 11 o'clock start in Oxford. And, you know, I don't really know what to expect from this Auburn team today. Ole Miss can sling it. And, you know, with Ole Miss being able to do that, you know, I don't know if we can expect Auburn to win a game. You know, Jerry Garantano slung it all around that Auburn secondary, especially in the second half, throwing for a total of 328 yards. And you're talking about one of the better throwers of the football in the country in Jordan Ta'amu. So I don't know if Auburn is going to be able to keep up. I mean, Auburn has had trouble scoring. Their offense looked a little bit better against Tennessee, but not good enough for them to think that they're going to be able to you know, to move the ball. I mean, Ole Miss's defense is not very good. Okay. But Auburn is so inept on the offensive side of the football right now, which is unbelievable for a Gus Malzahn coach team. You know, I don't really know what to expect in that one. And that's at noon on ESPN today. But Auburn travels down to, or over and up, I guess, to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the Ole Miss Rebels, who are 5-2. Folks, Matt Luke has got those guys playing, and they are playing really good on the offensive side of the football. So that one should be really fun. I just don't know if Auburn's going to be able to win, and if they lose again, the hot seat for Gus Malzahn turns from hot to boiling.
Yeah. He might be able to get his dream job back at Arkansas.
I mean, they're playing an Ole Miss team, Sam, that can sling it.
Yeah.
And
Ole Miss is one of those teams, just like Mississippi State, where, yeah, they may not be the greatest thing, but they can be a spoiler or an upset team in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, I mean, they're 5-2 though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
they haven't really played a hard test yet, though.
I mean, they played Bama.
Well, Bama, though, I mean, is going to roll over everybody. No pun intended.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I mean, they're taking care of the games they're supposed to, and they're Matt Luke's doing a fine job there. And
that was a questionable
I think
hire for that job.
I think at the time it was just somebody to get them through,
to get them through the season.
Although at this point, he might not be a bad hire long term. I mean, obviously,
well, they did give him a 3-year deal.
I mean, that's a 3-year deal is a joke in college football, though.
True. You need 3 years just to get your
3 years
in place.
3 years, he's that's a stopgap guy who's just going to be there to do that. But we'll see. That one again, that's at noon Eastern on ESPN. The over/unders set at 63. Ole Miss 4-point underdogs at home, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Also at noon in the SEC, we have Tulsa, the 1-5 Tulsa Golden Hurricane, going on the road to Fayetteville to take on the 1-6 Arkansas Razorbacks in probably the biggest pillow fight you will ever see between two just god-awful football teams. Sorry, Sam.
That's okay. I will still wear my red and white with pride.
I mean, as well you should. Arkansas is a 7-point favorite. The over-under is listed at 52.5. That seems low because Arkansas couldn't stop me.
I think Copper Basin would probably have a better time over Arkansas. And I'm not saying that with jest either.
So Arkansas only a 7-point favorite against the 1-5 Tulsa Golden Hurricane.
Tulsa's never really had a decent football team. They are more known for basketball than
they
anything.
No. They were decent when when Chad Morris was there. They were actually really good.
Yeah, but I mean, Tulsa in the 50 years that I've been alive has never really been known for football. But they do have their flashes in the pan.
Neither is
but
Arkansas.
I tell you what, Arkansas really needs a flash in the pan, though. This game here. I mean, it's bad enough we lost to North Texas State. To lose to Tulsa would be almost as bad. And it's like you might as well shut down the football program or find somebody else. I mean, Chad Morris, not a strong hire.
I'm one of those people. I'm usually pretty patient with coaches. I really am. I was pretty patient, and you can ask anybody with Butch Jones up until the end of 2016 when they lost to Vanderbilt.
When the switch got flipped in the middle of the season in 2016, that should have been writing on the wall and led him to go on another year.
I agree. But I think Chad Morris needs a little bit of time. I mean, you're going from Brett Bielema, who wanted to ground and pound, to a guy in Chad Morris who just wants to sling it all over the field. If he's able to pull Kelly Bryant from Clemson, then things can probably change a little bit quicker. Moving on, 4:00 on the SEC Network, Missouri takes on a 4-3 Memphis Tiger team at home, and Missouri is a 10-point favorite.
Well, that's kind.
Look, I don't condone you listening to what I say when it comes to your gambling, but this is one I would definitely look into. I would even take Memphis straight up.
Really?
I do not like Missouri at all. One, I think their defense is absolutely atrocious. Two, I think Derek Dooley has ruined Drew Lock as an offensive coordinator. This is the first time Derek Dooley's ever called plays in his life. And I mean, I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
So I don't know. I don't know. Memphis lost a close game to UCF last week, and Mike Norvell, people forget about it. Mike Norvell was at the top of a lot of people's coaching search last year, and probably will be again this year. Watch out. That Memphis team, I think they're going to beat Missouri today. So you can take that one if you want to. You can take that to the bank. And then
Norvell, if I'm not mistaken, had like 7 or 8 schools that wanted his services. Why he picked Memphis?
Well, I mean, he was at Memphis. He's been at Memphis. He followed Justin Fuente when Fuente left to go to Virginia Tech. And I think he decided just to stay at Memphis and ride it out. But look, I would have been happy with him at UT. I would have been completely fine with Mike Norvell.
Yeah.
Moving on, 7 o'clock.
Moving on. 7
p.m. Night game in Death Valley tonight. LSU, number 5 LSU, takes on number 22 Mississippi State.
That's going to be a battle.
Yeah. I mean,
who's picking who over the over and under and all that?
So the over-under's at 45.5, which I think is probably about right. Vegas usually really good with the over-unders. Point spread 6.5 LSU. I take LSU to cover. I think LSU wins by 10 plus.
Really?
Yeah, LSU's good, guys. And they laid an egg against Georgia a couple of weeks ago. But this LSU team is the real deal. And in 2 weeks, they got to make a statement today, because in 2 weeks, they play Alabama. Yeah. And both teams have a bye before that.
Isn't that in Baton Rouge?
It is.
Yeah.
You are correct. My favorite game of the week when it comes to the SEC is this one right here. Most people's probably going to be Mississippi State and LSU. I got my eyes on this one. It's a 7:30 kickoff on the SEC network between Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Kentucky comes in at 5-1 at home here. They're in Lexington, and Vanderbilt comes in at 3-4. Looks like we have Jason Kirk joining us. Jason, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing well. We're over here just talking about some SEC football games today. Maybe get your idea on them. We've actually gone through. We've gone through the list here. Do you have a favorite one for today?
Well, there's only one game I care about today, Nick, and that's Tennessee and Alabama.
See, that's funny because that's probably the game I care about least.
And why do you care about that at least?
Because it's not going to be a game. Because no Alabama game all year is going to be a game, except for probably the one in 2 weeks. But other than that, there's not going to be a game.
I don't know. If Tennessee plays the way that they played Auburn last week,
yeah, they'll keep it within 21.
Well, that's still a game.
That's not a game. A game is a 3 to 10 point game with no time left.
No. Keeping a game within 21 for your Tennessee team this year would be an actual close game.
Ooh.
Against Bama, you're right. You're right. It would be, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's intriguing.
Any team, though. I think that's what he's saying. Any team playing Tennessee, keeping it within 21 would be a game.
I mean, we just beat the 21st ranked team in the country. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
But don't forget, though, remember, Georgia Southern came into Alabama, and as Nick Saban said, ran through them like crap through a tin can.
Look, and that's fine. This is the best Alabama team that he's ever had. They actually have a quarterback.
But this is a Tennessee team, too, that's gotten better in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'd be happy if Tennessee keeps it within. I'd be happy to see if Tennessee keeps it within 21 points. Don't expect them to. I expect Alabama to cover the 28.5 point spread. I think Tennessee can keep it close for maybe a half, probably more realistically a quarter. But I don't even, if I'm as a Tennessee fan, I don't even care about today. My goal for today is to get out of there with nobody hurt and go into these last 5 games, all of which, in my opinion, are winnable compared to today, which is just, you might as well. I'd rather just run out the JV out there.
You know what? I'm surprised you didn't. I'm surprised you didn't tell your buddy to have his wedding this weekend instead of last weekend.
Oh, no. Just because I don't think Tennessee has a shot in hell to win this game doesn't mean I'm not watching Tennessee, Alabama. It's Tennessee, Alabama. I'll be there. I'm going to go. I'm going to watch. I'm going to have a good time. But I have zero expectations of Tennessee even keeping it close. I said this earlier. If I'm a Tennessee fan, what I want to do is I want to watch the game and look for plays. I want to look for positives. I don't want to look, and I know that sounds so defeatist, but I just want to look for things that we do well. And is there more things that we do well than there are things that we do poorly? And if that's the case, then you are going to keep it around that 21 point threshold. and you're probably going to feel pretty good about yourself.
The only thing that Tennessee is going to win today will be the tailgate party.
Yeah. Alabama actually sent back a lot of their tickets. I mean, Alabama fans are bored.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Saban gets all mad that nobody comes to the game.
You're exactly right. We really are.
And Nick Saban did it to himself. You want people to be there. Well, why would I spend all this money to go watch? It's the same exact thing as spending a lot of money to go watch your team lose when you know they're going to lose. Why would I go spend all that money and go watch my team win too when I know they're going to win by 50? It's not even like I'm going to watch a good game. Like, it'd be one thing if I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch a good game. No, Alabama hadn't been in a good game all year. And they won't be. I mean, maybe next week or 2 weeks against LSU, maybe, but I doubt it.
Maybe it's like the New England Patriots on the college football side of things. They've always expected the greatest things to happen, a winning atmosphere all the time, but you just get bored and it's like, all right. So
that poor soul who follows Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Because he will be fired in a year if he loses 3 or 4 games, in which that will happen because, I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep it. I'm sorry.
Well, no, and those are going to be big shoes to fill too, though.
I mean, look at Alabama not being relevant, realistically, not being relevant after Bear Bryant until Gene Stallings got there in the late 80s, early 90s. And then after Stallings wins the national championship, becoming irrelevant again until Saban gets here. I mean, you had a coach, in Mike Price, Dennis Franchione, Mike Shula. I mean, these are just bottom of the barrel coaches.
And now Butch Jones is down there waiting in the wings.
No, don't say that. By the way, that's $1. Make sure you get charged $1.
I need to bring in the jar. I need to actually bring in the jar. But my game, Jason, there's a couple that I'm really interested in. Obviously, the obvious one is Mississippi State at LSU tonight at 7:00 on ESPN. The 22-ranked Bulldogs go into Baton Rouge to play the 5th-ranked Tigers, or as Coach O would say, the Tigers. I'll
take LSU on that one.
I will too.
Mississippi State.
But here, Mississippi State.
Yeah. They're a team that's on the rise.
Did he fall and hit his head last night?
He must have. I don't know what happened because I'm sorry. Look, I love Mississippi State, but Sam, phone's ringing.
Yeah, I know.
I love Mississippi State. I love Nick Fitzgerald. I really think Joe Moorhead can do good things there. No, sorry, not happening. LSU just out athletes you at that point. And remember, this is the Mississippi State team that destroyed LSU last year. LSU looking for probably some revenge as well. Jason, the other game I'm really interested in is Vanderbilt at Kentucky. And here's why I'm interested. I know that sounds stupid. It would be more interesting if it was January and we were watching basketball. But
that's so true.
This to me is going to be a real test to tell me if Kentucky's for real or not. And it's not because I think Vanderbilt's great, because they're awful. But that's why. Does Kentucky lay an egg? Because great teams don't lay an egg. And if Kentucky has an opportunity to win the East, which it's sitting right there for them, they control their own destiny to do so, things I never thought I'd say in my life. Kentucky can't come out and lay an egg at home against Vanderbilt.
Well, you know how I feel about Kentucky. I'm still, the big fan of Earth, Wind, and Fire and the elements when anybody plays Kentucky.
These are probably the two schools I hate the most in the SEC, so I would prefer a fiery blimp accident, personally. But I
would be glad to have Anderson County play them and beat them.
Anderson County Community College.
County's built like they could.
But seriously, in all seriousness, if Vanderbilt does have a shot, and if it's close, to me, I'm never sold on Kentucky until they actually prove it. You can call me somebody from Missouri because I'm show me.
But you know,
show me.
Yeah, I know.
I lived in Missouri. Nothing.
Yeah, but. I think Mason is going to have these guys fired up. They will make it a competitive contest. I think Kentucky's going to edge them out maybe by a score, 3 or 7 points, but it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably will too. I wouldn't be surprised if Vanderbilt actually wins, just because that's something that Kentucky would do and something that Mark Stoops would do. They start out hot every year. I feel like they're 5-0, 5-1 every year, and then they just fall apart. come the end of October and November. That's just what I'm used to with Kentucky. So until they prove me otherwise, I'm not going to expect them to win. I mean, they still got games against Tennessee on the road. They got a game against Georgia. I mean, I don't.
They're going to run into buzzsaws like Tennessee has here in these 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, and now Tennessee's schedule after today gets so much easier.
Except maybe with South Carolina.
South Carolina's a joke. Look, I'm not saying Tennessee's going to win the game and go down to Columbia and beat them, but South Carolina's not good. I was one that was buying the Will Muschamp hype. I will never buy the Bama Bangs crazy eyes hype again because he is an absolute dullard when it comes to football coaching. And he's
in there with Dooley and Jones.
Well, no, he beat both of them every time he played.
$1.
He beat both of them every time he played them. So no, Tennessee has never beaten Will Muschamp
until this year.
I know.
So whether it be at Florida or at South Carolina, so that's great. But yeah, I really think so. I think those are the games. Jason, one more. We got about a minute and 15 left, but the noon.
Well, here I'm going to say this.
Okay.
You can take a dog turd, put a jersey on it. That's who I'm rooting for over Kentucky.
That's fair. That's fair. Ooh, the last game I want to talk about, and it was actually the one I spent the most time talking about, was Auburn at Ole Miss. Auburn's actually a 4-point favorite in this game, which blows my mind. Jordan Teamu, the quarterback for Ole Miss, just lights it up, and Auburn's secondary is atrocious. Does Auburn lose again, and does the Malzahn seat get even hotter at 4-4?
Malzahn will be gone at the end of the year if he loses this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to get any easier. I mean, you play Ole Miss, you could lose that one. They still got to play. They're still looking at having to play Georgia and Alabama. So, not looking good for the Gus bus down
he may be going
Auburn.
back to Fayetteville.
The Gus bus is almost out of fuel and on flat tires.
It sure is. It's not pretty. So that'll be fun to watch at noon. But that's really it. I'm not even going to talk about the Arkansas-Tulsa game because nobody cares. And also the Missouri-Memphis game, which also nobody cares. Jason, thank you for calling in. We had a star-studded show today. This has been the Breakfast Blitz here on Nougat Radio 927 FM. Stay tuned for We've Got You Covered Radio with Scott. Thank you, Jason. With Scott Schrader. He'll be next right after the news break. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy some college football. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Traffic, news, and information. Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Police press charges after a drive-by shooting from last month, but the suspect was already in